Okay, so today I'm going to show you how you can make a watercolor lettering piece with Photoshop. So I'm going to use this lettering piece that I've made a few years back, and as you can see, this is not a vectorized piece. I'm going to use the inked drawing because I want to keep this very organic feel, this organic look all around the edges. So I'm going to use this piece, and I'm going to use a watercolor background that I downloaded for free on Pixabay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by removing all this white here around the drawing, okay? So I'm going to double click my layer here. Double click my layer. I'm going to use the magic wand here, and I'm going to select, I'm going to click on the white like this. Okay, so when I click on the white, you can see that it's selected. It selects all the white space here. And if you can see closely, you can see that there are some pieces here that have not been selected because the software thinks it's not the same thing. So if you want everything to be selected, you have to adjust the precision, and you adjust it here. So the higher the number, the less precise it will be. So be careful, because if you go a bit too far, if you go like 100, maybe it will select much more things that you actually want. Like if you go here, okay, so here we have a pretty contrasted drawing, so it might work, but if you really go the extra mile, like maybe maximum, you can see that it will select everything. So as we can see, 100 is pretty nice, so I'm going to click here, and it selects everything but those white areas here. So you have two solutions if you want to select those areas. The first solution is to do it by hand. So you have to make sure this symbol here is checked, because it will add to our current selection. It will not replace it. And then you can click one by one like this to select the spaces. Or you can do it all automatically by unchecking contiguous pixels here, and you click, and everything is going to be selected. And here you can see that this is a lot more than what we want. So I'm going to lower the threshold, maybe go back to 30, click, and bam, we have everything we want. There are little areas here that are not selected, so I'm going to take my rectangular Marquee Tool and select them to include them in the selection. So this is pretty tiny here, so you can actually zoom in while you have a selection on. You can zoom in and remove all those. You can include actually all these areas to our selection. Okay, let's say we have something that we are pretty happy with. So we could just delete it. You could hit the delete button, but what we're going to do is much smarter. We're going to just hide this part we don't want. Why? Because if we want to go back, if we want to edit it out again, we will be able to do it. And this is how I strongly suggest you to work. I strongly advise you to work. It's in a non-destructive way, so you can always go back. Yes, your files will be larger, but you can go back, and this is priceless. So really do it. You'll thank me later. So how can we mask this area? So you're going to hold down the Alt key on your keyboard, and you're going to hit this symbol here, the mask symbol. And when you do that, you click, and you can see that all the white has disappeared. But here you can see that you have an inverted version of your lettering, and you can totally disable it just hit Shift and click. You can disable it and re-enable it back. Okay, and if it's on like this, you can totally paint on it. If you paint with black, it will reveal. If you paint with white, it will hide. And if you paint with gray, depending on the darkness or lightness of your gray, it will create multiple layers of opacity. Okay, so let's move on with our watercolor. I'm going to go here on my watercolor background, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag it like this on my tab here and release it on my layer. So this is a Photoshop trick. If you want to copy a document onto another document, you don't have to go like, okay, select the entire thing, copy, unselect, and back and paste. Okay, this is a solution, but there is a much more interesting solution, and that you drag it onto the tab, it goes to the active tab, and you release it on it. Really simple. So here we have our watercolor background, and the simplest thing that we can do, you're going to right click on it, and you're going to hit on how do you say that shit? How do you say masque d'écrêtage? Putain. I'm going to check on fucking Google. So you right click on the layer, and you're going to click on create a clipping mask like this. And as you can see, it will mask everything and only be visible onto our shape. So next step, we're going to add some white behind so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to add a solid color. Going to get some white, put it behind. Then I'm going to go back on my layer here, right click on it, and I'm going to convert it to a dynamic layer so I can resize it in a non-destructive way. I'm going to hit CMD T so I can resize it, and I'm going to resize it so I can actually see a bit more of it. And as you can see here, since there is some white in my watercolor background, it's going to apply here on my letters. And this can be very interesting to have this kind of effect. So you can be totally creative and do it like there is some imperfections. So then I'm going to go here, maybe do something like that. And then you have something that is pretty natural, as you can see here. You can move it, so you can put it like here, and you can move it a bit around, so you can create this little effects here, like it's totally organic, and it is a true watercolor and not a Photoshop effect. So a little bonus trick, it's not in the article, it's only for the people who watch the video. If you want to just change the color because you're afraid that somebody used this exact same texture and you want to have something that is really truly yours, you can totally go and create an adjustment layer here. It's going to be something like hue saturation. Go here, so it will create an adjustment layer here, and you move this cursor, the U cursor, and it's going to transform the color of your watercolor here. So the more you move it around, the more you will get new interesting colors. Maybe go with something blue like this, something blue, greenish blue, and move the saturation around, move the light around. So make sure you clip it you clip it on this layer so it will not affect the white background, and you move it all around like this, and you play with the settings so it will give you something that is truly unique and truly yours.